And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sportcat Show, formerly known as the Paranormal Guys. We're glad you're here. We want to thank everybody at Dare Talk Radio for tuning in and allowing us to tickle your ears. And, of course, we need to also thank WRFN, Radio Free Nashville, and WZQR in Florida. And those of us in the live audience, jump over here and join the chat. We've already got a couple people in it. Let me see who I got hidden backstage here. Oh, beautiful lady number one. Hey, Jen, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. So we have a great guest tonight. I'm trying to get all the Naked and Afraid cast members I can. I love this show. So tonight we have Tori Huggins. She was on this season's first episode down in the Florida Everglades. And, well, let's bring her out and she can tell us a little bit about herself. Hey, Tori.
Hey.
How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So I'm excited to be here and be a part of this.
Oh, we're glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up getting into Naked and Afraid.
Oh, Lordy, where do I even start? So I'm a nuclear pipe welder. I fell into it after college. It was kind of actually on a joke, a total whim, but long story. Fell into it and then absolutely loved it. And I've been doing it for 19 years now. How I decided to apply for the show was I'd had a stint of my life where I just got I didn't stop loving myself. I lost my confidence. I lost everything. I was in bad relationships and I just kind of lost a big part of myself. So when I decided, I'm like, I have to make a change. And literally on a dime, I was like, I'm going to go hike the Appalachian Trail and by myself. And I did 250 miles of it. And it was the most life-changing experience for me. And as soon as I got done with that, I was like, what's my next adventure? What's my next challenge that's going to bring me, like, dig deep to find that Wonder Woman inside of me, you know? And I applied for Naked and Afraid just to say, well, I tried, I applied. And I knew there was no chance in hell that they would ever actually pick me. And lo and behold, they did. And then, like 7 months later or so, like, there I was on the show.
Wow.
Which was also a life-changing event for me. You just don't go through something like that and don't grow. You don't jump in a rabbit hole and come out unchanged.
So when you first found out that you were selected, what were your thoughts?
At first I was like, this is just a formality. When they wrote me back the first time off the first application that literally took like 30 seconds to fill out, I was like, oh, it's just a bot, sending me back to fill out a bigger one. So I filled out the one, it's like 500 questions, however long it takes. It took me like 5 hours because it was in depth. And once again, I sent it out. I'm like, never going to hear back from them. They're going to be like, this girl is crazy and not at all what we want or prepared or knows nothing about this stuff. And then they called me again a couple months later. And finally, once we got so far in the process, I'm like, I'm going, even though they haven't said you're on it, just with each step of the process, because it's a lot of stuff and a lot of interviews, psych tests. You got to meet with a psychologist. It's blood work. It's interview after interview after interview. And then anyway, so when I really knew I was going, it was like, it was surreal. That's the only way I know how to describe it. I'm like, did this really happen? Did I what? Oh my gosh. And so even before I was going on the show, like I'm flying out and I'm talking to my brother, my best friend, Sydney, like my close people. And I'm like, what did I just do? What have this is insane. I'm crazy.
So where do you go from here now that you've done this? So you said you started with like hiking the Appalachia, and then now you went on the Naked and Afraid, and like where do you go from here?
You know, the world is the playground, right? I'm hoping it opens up more doors to things that I would love to do. But honestly, my next one, I can't, since I've been back, I haven't stopped thinking about being back out on another show of that. So I really want to be on an Excel, and there's been some talk. I'm not gonna say much or anything. I don't know what I'm really allowed to say with my NDA, but I think y'all will see me again eventually. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Was that your first time down in the Everglades?
It was not. Now, naked and,
Sure.
that primitive, yes. But I've taken boat tours down there, and I've goofed around. I worked at a job down in Turkey Point, which is just a little bit north of Key Largo. And so while I was down there for a year working, I went and did a bunch of events and stuff, and got to see crocodiles and snakes in the wild. But of course, I was, on this side of the safety zone, not out in it.
Well, that's a very it's like a wild kingdom down there.
No, no.
Everybody would be afraid of the gators. I'd be more afraid of the pythons.
Honestly, the
Ugh,
snakes were more of a concern because every time we walked to our water hole, like you'd see 3 snakes just running off. So every step you took, and especially from 21 days, the grass got so tall that we would have to wade through. And yeah, I wasn't really scared of a gator being popping up out of nowhere, but the snakes, they were just crawling. Every time you took a step, you're like, is there a snake? Is there a snake? Snake?
So like feeling with your toes through the grass, like wading through waist high water, may as well, right?
Off of the Parent Trap, where they trick the stepmom into clanking the wood, for cougars, stuff I swear that's what I would do. I'd be like, hey, while I was stepping. And they just back up in the water. There was times I was in the water, and next thing I know, I'm trying to wash my hair. It's a very shallow mud pit that we had, and I'd be trying to lay down. The guys would be there because I'm like, I need protection. And next thing I know, water snake would just right by you. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was not.
Can you imagine they're just cruising along, and then this person starts screaming at them like, what did I do?
Yeah, I feel bad for them because I was probably scared a lot of them.
Yeah, snakes and I aren't friends. Now, you had no idea who was going to be on the show with you beforehand.
I had no clue. And when I met Cole, before I went down to do the show, I had just finished his season or his episode. And so his face was more familiar in my mind. And so when I met him, I'm like, I know you, but it took me a minute to place it. And after about 20 minutes, I was like, I know him. And so I was super excited that he'd done this once. And I had no clue I was about to get somebody else. And the camera captured it on screen. That was my full shocked face. Because at first I was like, why is another one of the camera crew people, why are they naked? When he walked up, and I was like, see a naked man. Why is the crew naked? And then I realized that's Matt Wright.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a shock just suddenly.
Maybe just to make you feel at peace.
Oh yeah.
So did they literally just drop you off and tell you, okay, walk that way?
Pretty much. So they said, hey, this is your boundaries to start, and in there's where you need to go. And so I walked so far to meet Cole, and then we got our maps and our gear, and it was like, all right, look at the map. We got so many miles to go to get to our area where we thought was going to be a better shelter close to a pond, stuff like that.
Did you have to do a lot of physical exercise? What did you do to prepare?
I ate a lot and drank a lot of beer.
It's I won't be having this for a while. I want to get it out of
I really was just trying to gain weight, and I'm a very physically active person. I mean, I work in construction and I'm always active doing stuff outdoors. So I'm not super fit. I'm super fit, but it looks like I eat tacos on the regular, just not. uh, I was reading up with literally Chat GPT and some other sites and stuff of, hey, how to skin a gator, how to do this, how to make these certain shelters, all the different things. So I was doing a lot of research to get all the knowledge. But as for preparing, besides like starting fires and practicing that, I just did a lot of reading and then trying to gain weight, which I put on, I think, like 13 pounds. My clothes weren't fitting. I was having to wear sweats before I even went down there because I'm like, can't even get my pants on. And, but I ended up losing it, of course. So.
Nicole, here's the guy thing. She was telling me about, well, she was telling us about when she got ready to get off of the, I guess, the truck or whatever and take her clothes off. She's like, I had to fashion coordinate with the clothes. And I'm like, what? And of course, Jen picked up on that. I was like, wait, what?
Wait, I didn't hear you. What happened?
Nicole said she had to coordinate. She wanted to have nice underwear on. Oh. So I was like, what?
It's like, I'm going to be on television. I want to make sure my underwear matches. Looks good.
Yeah. Well, my stuff don't match, but I did pick out my nicer ones for it because I was like, I ain't about to pull out some granny panties and throw them in the trunk because I know it gets seen. So, but what was funny is on the show, they showed me doing the shimmy on my shorts, and I'm all like, I can't get them off because I was so big at the time, and my normal shorts wouldn't come off. So I'm like doing this wiggle, and yeah, throwing the panties. It wasn't like being at the gynecologist where you try to tuck it and hide it, like heaven forbid the gynecologist sees your underwear. So yeah, I was like, all right, throw the stuff in. And one of the last scenes was my panties went bloop on top, and I was like, good thing I wore some nice ones.
So what you're saying is this experience is a really good weight loss routine.
It is absolutely the best. Atkins, whatever the diets that are out there, none of them will compare to this. Promise you.
Somebody asked if it's your same clothes back at the end.
I was just going to say, I saw that question.
Now, if you eat as much as we did, then like Matt Cole barely lost any weight. They were like, I gained 20 pounds for this show thinking we were going to starve, but we really got a lot of food and ate well. But I still lost 12 pounds, even eating well. But we ate every single day out there. But when I say we ate, it wasn't like we ate 3-course meals every day or even a full meal. We would have at least a piece of jerky, or something, or a little bit of heart of palm, which I hated. And the guys, for the first week, every time we got something, that they would scream out, "Feast or famine!" And so I tried that the first so many days, but then after that, I was like, I'm gonna famine. Like, I'm so stuffed right now, and I feel like we're gonna get something else. But they're used to it, and so they're used to going, a week or so without food. And after a week of us eating every day, I was like, no, I'm gonna pick a little bit.
I think I'm preparing for that because I have ADHD and I'll get hyper focused on something and I'll forget to eat breakfast, lunch, and it'll be 5 o'clock. I'm like, oh, I guess I better eat some breakfast, and then so I could go for a whole day without eating just because I forget.
You're like my brother. He has that mentality of ADHD or ADD, whatever it is. And I am undiagnosed, self-diagnosed ADHD, but I've never had it to the extent of I forgot to eat because I love my food. And now I'll forget to do a lot of things, or I'll be all like squirrel, Oh
yeah.
But I never forget my food.
I just get so wrapped up in things, and then I just forget the world exists. Like a tornado could wipe through our house, and unless it bothers me and whatever I'm doing, I could care less. Right. I just set alarms for myself. Yeah,
very focused.
I've never been. So I'm usually stuck in my own little part of the world. What is the environment like in Florida? I've never even been south of. I think I went to Disneyland when I was 17. That's as far south as I've gone.
It was hot, very lots of mosquitoes, and honestly the mosquitoes were the least of our worries. The flies were just incessant. We got to the point where we got comfortable just sitting talking like this, and at any point we would have 100 flies on each one of us. And so unless they landed in your eye, you wouldn't even swat them anymore. But the micro, they're called electric micro ants, which are invasive
Ooh.
from South America, and with cargo ships they've slowly been making their way up into Florida, and I think just maybe a little bit of South Texas or something like that. But these mother effers are just, I mean, they're on everything. Everything that you can't burn them out, you can't waterboard them, you can't do nothing to them. Like,
Sorry,
they were in the trees, they were on everything.
little thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So unless you're gonna mash them up one at a time, but they send out a signal or something. Like if you just happen to shift wrong, they would be under us constantly. They wouldn't get you, but if you shifted wrong and maybe touched one pheromone or something, they'd just start trying to light you up, and it would last for 30 minutes to 45 minutes of this, and this impulse of stinging. There's many nights I laughed. Cole got ate up way worse than all of us, and I could not. It would be 3 a.m. in the morning, and I would be dying laughing because he's going off. He's like, these motherfucking ants and fuck this bullshit, you know. And I am cackling because he's losing his shit. And then of course, then I would get let up, and then I'd be like doing the same thing, like
I think I did
and we
a
all
bee
got
dance
it in our hoo-haws at one point or another.
Of course, they're everywhere, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I did the most I've ever done with that is I was waiting for the bus, and then I was way across the parking lot standing in front of the mall because it's cold. So you don't want to stand out there in the middle of nowhere. So you wait, you see the bus coming and stuff. But right at this point, it wasn't cold. It was summer, and I just got used to doing that. But I had a bee flying around me, and I'm still going like this. And I'm thinking, I wonder what the people far away saw. Because they didn't see the bee. Yeah, they saw me spazzing out. They didn't see the bee, but I did the bee dance. So I can picture that in my head when you're talking about it.
Yes, for sure.
I have a very crazy story about fire ants. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and we didn't have fire ants in Washington, D.C. And when I became a paramedic down in the South, they're everywhere, but I didn't know what they were. And we had this lady that wanted to go to the hospital. She was in a car wreck. I got to go to the hospital. There was nothing wrong with it. I mean, there wasn't even a dent on her car. So we did the whole thing, put her on a backboard, tape her down, and I laid her on top of a fire.
Was she still getting ate up with the ants when you strapped her to the board?
No, she wasn't until I laid her on top of the fire ant thing. And she is, I thought she found Jesus over there. I had no idea what was going on. She didn't want to go to the hospital after that.
As soon as I'm sorry, I was cracking. I was trying really hard not to laugh as soon as you said tape her down. I'm like, oh, that sounds like some BDSM stuff going on there. But then you just went way past that. And I'm just, laughing.
Yeah.
I like y'all. I'm trying to censor myself because I know a lot of people are watching that I know family wise, that I'm like, I'm going to be nice. But thoughts went through my head too.
Yeah. I know. I don't know if you caught me. I was like,
I did. And I was like, keep it together, Tori.
I had to explain that to the captain. I was like, I swear to God, I didn't know what a fire ant was until this.
You're over there like, she found, hallelujah, she's found the Holy Spirit.
Exactly. I thought she's saying.
They're all trying to lay hands, and she's like.
Yep. So, it's just I had a weird.
I'm so glad that I think the mosquitoes we have, but our bugs are bigger up here.
Where are you at?
So I'm in southern Alberta, which is, I guess, north of Idaho. So yeah. But we have things like, well, mostly out in BC, but we have them here too. They got things like June bugs, which are like about that big. We've got spruce beetles, the size of, I don't know, coins. They're really big. Their antennas are twice as long. We've got moths that look like bats from a distance.
Well, we have mosquitoes were big. I was going to say not as big as in Florida.
Yeah. No, they're probably not. But
which I'm from Arkansas and I'm down here working in Texas, but I'm trying to move back to Colorado. But Arkansas, we have not only cockroaches, but we have, it's called a water roach or something like that. They're about 2 inches long. Okay. Look just like a cockroach, but they fly.
Yeah, you
You know,
can't
the
escape
first
them.
time I ever experienced that was inside my house with a bunch of my girlfriends and stuff. We're hanging out watching a movie, and this water, what are they called? They're water roaches. Everyone knows what they are down in Arkansas or the South. But this thing happened to come in through the chimney, and all of a sudden we all see the shadow, and we're like, "Whoa, what's that?" And the shadow that moves, my cats are trying to get it. And then we're like, "Oh my gosh, it's the biggest cockroach we've ever seen in our entire lives." And we're all up on the couch and stuff. And next thing you know, that thing jumps off the chimneys, off the mantle, and flies at us. And I swear it was mayhem of girls diving over the back of the couches. We're screaming, "It fucking flies!"
I grew up out in the woods. Had acres of trees. I have 4 younger brothers. I am not scared. Like, there's some bugs that I'm scared of if they scare me or startle me. I'm not a big fan of spiders. Really don't like snakes, but I'm not really scared of anything. But when I was changing for one of my, because I used to do martial arts, so we had a change room downstairs, and there was a spruce beetle, and it was about, good 2 inches across almost. This is a big sucker. And it was in the girls' change room, and all the girls are screaming and running out, and here I am with my shoes. Hold it! Don't let it go in it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
We're gonna send Jennifer to be on an episode of Naked and Afraid. So.
Oh yes.
Oh,
I guarantee you.
You know what?
You'll get
I think
over
it would
any
be easier
fears.
I think it'd be easier than parenting my children right now.
Probably. I could not do it.
Had you done anything like that before? I mean, what, like outdoor survival? Were you a camper? Did you hunt? Did you fish?
I've never hunted. I did fish growing up, and my first hunting experience was when I was 8. It was a thing. When you turn 8 years old, our grandpa would get us all a 22 rifle, okay? And then your parent then would take you out to hunt, okay? And my brother, 3 years older, when he turned 8, he got the rifle. He went out with dad, and he ended up killing this huge, like 8-point whitetail buck that was big enough to mount and everything. Okay, like he even won a trophy off of it for the state of Texas. So 3 years later, I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that, but better. And I get my rifle. I'm ready. I get my camo gear on, all this stuff, and my dad takes me out, and we're in the blind, like 20 minutes in. It's very cold. Here comes a little or a doe. It was a pretty big doe. And dad's like, "Okay, there's your deer." And I'm like, "That thing don't even have any antlers." And he's like, "I know, Tori, that's a female, but that's good meat." Well, I don't want to shoot that, you know. And dad's like, "Oh my goodness." So, 10 minutes later, here comes a little spike, and it's got little antlers, they're about 4 inches tall, 2 of them. And dad's like, "Okay, Tori, here's your young buck, and it's got antlers like you want." And I was like, "Well, those are really tiny. Would you mount it if I get it?" And he's like, "No, it's too small." Well, I don't want that. One more time, another little spike comes through, and after the third time that he said he wouldn't mount it if I didn't shoot it or if I shot it. I didn't understand just eating the meat at that young of an age, And after the third one, I turned down. He goes, "All right, let's go." And then I've never been hunting again in my entire life.
Aw.
But I have always grown up in the outdoors, camping, hiking. Until the Appalachian Trail, I'd never done anything alone. I was always in groups or with friends, and it was guided things. But the Appalachian Trail is what really changed me. I've now gone all over the country by myself and hiked hundreds of miles in all different places by myself.
Where did you start on the Appalachian Trail?
In Springer Mountain, Georgia, which is mile marker 1. And now, whether you're southbound, northbound, everyone will have their thing of no, it's you start up in Maine and you go south, But that was literally mile marker 1 or 0. I started in Springer Mountain, Georgia, and I made it all the way up past the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee.
Oh wow,
that's a decent hike.
Yeah,
Just a little.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I ran across rattlesnakes, bears. I mean, right up on them.
Army Rangers.
A whole Army Ranger that I actually pulled my gun on because that's a wild story. I don't know if you want to hear it, but it was night 2, and my dad, he just was so like, if you are going to go on this, he kept trying to beg me not to go do this by myself. And he's like, finally, if you're going to go do it, at least take your pistol. And I was like, fine, I don't want the extra weight, but I'll do it. And he kept talking about there's crazies out there, and he's true, but most people that are that crazy aren't going to hike that far up on a mountainside to try to kill someone. It does happen. So anyways, I have my pistol in my fanny pack and night 2, I camp alone and I'm in this clearing, and right in the middle of me cooking my dinner, and I'm miles and miles away from anyone or anything, I hear like rapid fire guns going off just where I came from. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a lone wolf, some crazy guy. And he's shooting up all the hikers because I can hear it getting closer and closer to me. I grab my gun. I sit there for so long. And then I gaslight my own self into, no, it's just a semi truck. The brakes were going out, something crazy. I didn't actually hear what I heard, even though I'm an avid gun owner and user that I know the sounds, So I calm myself down. Now I'm in the middle of eating my meal. And next thing I know, here comes this decked out from head to toe, camo paint, the patches, everything, side arms. He's got his AR-15, all these things, but he's running and he just sprints right into my campground. And there, I jump up, I drop everything, and mind you, I'm in little booty shorts and a little pink tank top. I run and jump behind a tree because I thought that was my only way, is if he didn't see me, then I can hide and maybe he'll go on. And as soon as I start to swing around this tree with my pistol, he looks over at me and sees me, and instantly I draw on him. And mind you, this guy's got blanks because he's doing, it was like Army Ranger training up in this, wherever it was. I didn't know this, they didn't have signs up on the trail that they're going to have helicopters flying over eventually. They're going to have mortars going off, and then people actually driving and running through all of our area. So as soon as I saw him look at me, I knew there's no way my little 6-shooter could take on an AR-15, and we are 20 feet apart from each other. So I pull on him and I start yelling. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. I knew I had to fire if he even started to pull the gun towards me. And luckily he did not. All he did was look at me. He saw me draw on him and he instantly starts throwing his hand up while he doesn't break from running across me, going, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you up here? Are you a killer? And I said some explicit words to him, and he instantly is just like, hey, yeah, we're doing Army training. And he keeps on trying to go away from me. And, he had to run back to his platoon and be like, this bitch in pink and little booty shorts just pulled a real gun on me while they had blanks. That took a long time for me to come down from, that's for sure.
So you're sitting there going, okay, that just happened.
But I was like, my dad was right. This is how I go out.
So was that more frightening than anything you encountered in Florida?
No. Maybe in that one intense moment, but after I jumped on the gator's back, I once again thought, what am I doing? I am crazy. But hey, when in Rome and YOLO, and I kind of felt somewhat safe when I jumped on the back of that one. It was like Matt coached us through the whole thing, even though he didn't hold the rope, he didn't participate or anything like that. But the second one we got, where I'm holding it by the tail, There was no coaching. This thing was snapping and rolling. They barely showed any of it. At one point, I jumped over its head and it snapped at me. And I'm like, there's no one on site that can really kill this if it was to get one of us. And that's when I was like, we are in this and there is no rules, no one to save us. And Matt's not giving us instruction because it was happening too fast. And that's when I was like, okay, I've seen it in a movie. I'll grab its tail.
They can spin around pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
Like
there was multiple
whip around
times
to
that I
get their
actually
tail.
let go of it because it had spun around. I swear it did like a 180. And I'm like, nope, not today, Satan. And then it spin around again. I'd grab its tail and Matt's trying to get it with the stick in the front to distract it. And that scene was crazy.
Was that your I'm gonna die here? This is how I die moment.
Kinda. That is when I knew this is not stage. This is, you know, I've heard people online saying, oh, they tranquilize, these gators. And I'm like, this is real. And I literally could get bit. and this gator is the size of me. So.
Yeah. And you're in its backyard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. That had to be scary. So did you ever see any more Army people? Or was that?
No, I didn't see any, but I did hear for the next like 3 days of hiking, I would see Apache helicopters or whatever, some sort of helicopter coming over, boom, 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 boom. And then every once in a while, when I'd be like at a road crossing or something or a dirt road, I would see the Humvees and stuff going by with their guy up on the gun, and I would hear mortars going off throughout the night. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to sleep here, you know?
Didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I didn't sign up to be in a war zone.
I can't get over the fact that he saw you pull a gun on him, and he goes, "Hi, how's it going?" He's running through. I can't get over that fact. It's like, wow, he's the
obviously
friendliest.
His training really kicked in because he knew what he had, and I hope he knows how close he was. And thankfully, I am a very good safe owner. I was taught very well, and I was scared. I was very, very, really actually scared for my life. And I could have been, if I would have pulled on him, and actually shot, because I was not going to let him get the jump type thing. But I held, and the way, if he was to turn towards me, I was going to shoot. I absolutely was terrified. I've never killed anyone. I'm crying over killing a rabbit and gators, But since he didn't, he was very well mannered and trained that he instantly assessed the situation, waved at me, stuff like that, and it de-escalated. But imagine someone else in that situation, they don't ask questions,
Surprised
you did more than one gator?
So.
What?
I said you did more than one gator?
Yeah, Kim said you did more than one gator, yeah.
Yes. We got two gators.
I was thinking he should have seen you with his night vision way before you saw him. So.
It wasn't dead of night. Like I'm eating supper. It was still maybe like 7, and so there was still some daylight.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'd seen that running in the dark, I would have been like, pow, pow, yeah.
Yeah, my friend is XFS. SF, is that right? And one of the things they do is they'll drop them in by helicopter in the middle of the Smokies, and they'll be like, "All right, find your way out. We'll meet you here." And that's it. And
I think that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Or they were in a tag team capture the flag type moment.
How did you know that he had blanks?
She didn't. I didn't, but I found out afterwards that it's all blanks out there, because they don't want to hit a stray hiker. So
it's true. Okay. At the time, you had no idea.
And that is why I reactively made that decision. If that gun even starts to come towards me or turn towards me, and not just his head, because when we locked eyes, I swear, like I saw my my soul went up, and I was done for.
If you had captured him, he would have not passed special forces.
He wouldn't have lived it down.
Imagine me shoot him, injure him, and I've got him hog tie like to the back of my camp, and he's got to call his troopers and be like, "This little tiny 5'4" girl's got me captured. I need help."
Yeah, she's in big booty shorts.
So
You
he
can't
didn't have to
miss
do
it.
push-ups or something.
Oh, yeah.
He was
My brother just chimed in and he goes, if that would have happened, he would have probably hoped that I just went ahead and, ixnayed him so he didn't have to face the embarrassment of getting captured by me.
Exactly.
he's more scared of push-ups than he was.
Yeah.
So did you the gators you had two? Did you have it? I don't remember. I saw the episode, but I don't remember. You didn't have any other thing. You didn't need any snake or anything. I remember. Weren't you talking about you were hoping to get one or?
We ate the snake.
Okay.
And now there was more stuff that wasn't showed on the show. But I got a rabbit and a snake, and then there was multiple snakes that I actually caught just to practice catching them and not constantly throwing it every time I thought it was going to bite me, So by the end of the 21 days, I was very well versed with handling them, how to maneuver them, and Matt got me to just grabbing them out of the grass or the ground by the head. And now my first two attempts, I got bit. And one of them left their teeth. Some of their teeth broke off in my knuckle. And that was the first one. And we knew it. We assessed the snake. We're like, this is a water snake. If it does bite me, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to anything. So I was very confident. Even if it does, no big deal. I get it. It bites me, and then full panic sets in. I'm like, "Are we sure? Are we sure? Are we sure it was a water snake? Are we sure? Are we sure?" Over and over.
Well, if it had been, I guess there's somebody close that would have been.
There are two medics will stay at night while the whole crew or the camera production and all that stuff. They'll go home in between 4 and 6 each evening. Sometimes they stay later. Sometimes they go earlier. But every evening, they'd leave us. And then about maybe a half mile away, there'd be 2 medics that would stay on site. And just in case of some emergency. But they, it is like Band-Aid or sew you up type stuff. But if you get bit by an alligator, they're going to be like, I don't know what to do.
Band-Aid enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not enough super glue for that.
Yeah, no. That's out of my realm.
They'll teach us in medic school.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what if my biggest fear is that I'm gonna have to get trached out in the, all the shows growing up, MacGyver, all these medical shows that someone always has to trach someone out in the wild. And I'm like, we don't got a pin. We don't got no, like, what do we got that's gonna be able to be a makeshift trach?
Empty reed.
Yeah, empty reed. We'll hollow out the snake, we'll harden it, then we'll shove it in her neck.
So
you put a little bit of thought into that.
Actually, that was just now. Like, that's how my brain works. It's spitballs of some of the weirdest stuff.
Oh, that's great.
You mentioned earlier that this experience changes you. How would you say that it changed you?
Now you're gonna get me off on a serious note, but I'll keep it not too deep and stuff, but to go out there, the way it changed me, I'm sure everyone has a different experience, but I went out there knowing I will not quit. They will have to med tap me. I will not give up. I'll do it by myself. And that was my planning and putting in my mind that my person is going to tap a couple days in and I'm going to have to do it by myself. So I already got my mind right for that. But you live your life, and just throughout all the years, and I'm 41 years old now, I've been through some shit. I've had some traumas that are just devastating, that stop you in your track. Your whole world stops, and you got to spend years trying to build yourself back up. And after so many things that have happened, you lose sight of yourself, and you carry all this weight, all this darkness, all this baggage. Even though I'm still laughing at times, it's there for me. No one else can see it, And when I went out there, I'm gonna get teary-eyed.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm a huge crier, but and hopefully this can stop it. I don't need a tissue. Not yet, at least. When I hope it can resonate with some people that, like, this is you need something that is going to push you, break you down to your nitty gritty. And that is where you find that inner core of you, that willpower of, I'm going to get up today. This was a hard ass day, but I'm going to get up today. And the more times you do that and tell yourself, I'm going to keep stepping forward, all that crap just slowly breaks off. And I was able to let go of a lot of weight that I've held for way too long. And that were things that I shouldn't have ever been carried in the first place. It was what other people had done to me, certain traumas, and it sticks to you. And so out there each morning, I woke up and I felt I could breathe a little bit deeper. And yeah, I found so much more confidence. I found so much more love for myself. And I found another woman that I had not experienced in probably ever, or a long time. So
it changes your whole perspective. Sorry, Glenn.
No, I was going to say, while you were out there, one of your teammates was having a hard time.
He did, and which we all did at times, have our curse words and mental breakdown. None of us cried out there from any crazy thing, but Cole did have a moment where it was like 2 hour bid, if that, and he lost it. We were hot, tired, everything, no sleep. The bug bites were getting to us, and there was no place for us to ever go to that we could get a little bit of reprieve. It was all day long, all night long. And so that was a day. It was, I think, early in the third week or something, or into the second week, that he snapped and he needed to go for a walk. And he came back. We talked to him and he cleared his head and he was good. But when I'm talking about things that I've carried through my life, it's not bug bites. It's not stuff like that. It's dark, heavy stuff that women have been through, or all kinds of people. And yeah, we pick up the traumas and we hold it with us. Yeah. So to be out there, really, I'm pretty good about, you never heal from certain traumas. You'll always remember it, but you can let it go where it don't affect you. Okay. But there's been some that it's always just a shadow that keeps following me, or weight dragging on my foot, and try to live life when you got 50 pounds of something holding on to you and you got to drag it through life. You lose yourself. So I don't know why or how, but out there, something allowed me to shed some of that stuff that I've carried for years. And it literally was a life-changing show for me.
Do you think anybody could do it, or do you think it takes a special kind of person?
I'm sure there's some people that just cannot do it, but I absolutely think if anybody really set their mind to it, it's mostly mental. I very much believe in the power of determination and willpower. And yeah, now they might not do it as successfully as another person, or have as much fun, or be able to laugh through it. But I guarantee you, there's not a woman or man out there that I don't think could grit down and suffer through it.
You obviously sound like you do it again.
I cannot wait to do another one, and I hope to be on an XL in the coming year or two.
Yeah, those are even longer, right? A month, isn't it?
They're 40 days.
40 days. Okay.
Oh.
Yep. So double. But after this one, I went with Cole, because I actually where I'm working in Texas, I'm only a couple hours away from him. And so me and my brothers actually gone down to stay with him and his wife, meet his kids. And we hung out for a weekend, went out on a lake, but he got me a bow. He took me to his bowman and shot some, and bought me a bow, got my arrows, got the whole thing decked out. That's my size, not Cole's size. And I'm hoping that if I get picked to go on an XL, I can take my bow, because Cole's was I swear it was like 6 foot tall. And I couldn't even carry it on my shoulder. It would just be dragging the ground. So I got me a little bit shorter.
Sideways on your neck.
Right. Yeah. Every time I go to pull it back, right? Every time I go to pull it back and I'm in like some brush and stuff, I try to turn and I'm like, oh God, oh shit,
It's like me trying to manage a pair of skis.
You'd never
Once
done
you
any
fall
bow-
over, if they're still stuck on you, yeah, it looks bad trying to get up.
You'd never done anything with a bow before, right?
I had a lawn bow when I was a kid, and I think the last time I ever actually shot one was 10 years old. But I'm shooting one into a hay bale. These are like, they were bow and arrows from Woodman of the World. It's a life insurance, but they would put on a camp. And my dad used to be the area state manager for them, and so he brought back these bows for me and my brother, and we'd stand there at the hay bale. I'm talking not the square one, the big round one. Okay, so it's an easy
the one you have
target.
to like scale to get up to the top.
Oh yeah, for sure. And we're shooting, and of course we never had a target on it. I was just happy if I hit the hay bale. So no, it'd been a long time since I'd ever shot a bow, and one that has, weight to pull back to it.
You look like a pro.
Oh, thank you. So it's these guns.
Now,
Did you have any
had to see
skills?
the-
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, did you see the edit before they aired it, or was it when we saw
Oh,
it?
no. That was absolutely live. My reaction. So many of us cried. I was crying all again, seeing some of the stuff, and even watching me cry and tear up from the gator and the rabbit. Like, I still, if I talk about it, sometimes I can get emotional, like I was back then, because it still sticks with me. But no, it was absolute live reaction, and I have no clue what they're going to put on there. And for like 8 months, I've been trying to replay, what did I say out there, and what will they actually air? Because sometimes at night we had some talks and they were crazy. I mean, we'd be dying laughing, but I'm like, if they air some of this, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed.
Like your diary.
But I thought they did a good job. I mean, there was 21 days. We had 500 hours of film, and we got
Wow.
2 hours, and 40 minutes of it was commercial. So imagine taking 21 days and condensing it down into an hour and 20 minutes. Like, they just cannot show all the stuff.
Sure.
Were there some scenes that you're like, why didn't they put that in? That was great.
Oh, yes. Especially some of the laughing scenes. I wish they showed some of our humor throughout it that I did enjoy, but there were some where, man, I can't breathe. I'm on just all fours, dying laughing, and I'm going to call them out. But Matt, and Cole were in the tent. It's like 2 a.m. He's got a churned stomach or something. So he's like, okay, he's hurting. So he's going to go out further than he would if he just had to do something. So he goes, I swear he's like 50 yards away. Like, he's out there. Okay. And he ends up ripping this fart that I swear it echoed in our tent. And me and Cole are still laying there. And when we hear this, it sounded like a trumpet. And our little palm frond shingles were like, like ruffled.
It's like an air horn.
We stayed up for like 3 hours, and that's all we talked about. And even Matt's yelling from so far away. He's like, I didn't know it was going to be that loud. And oh my gosh, it was so funny. It was so loud. We laughed so much that the medics that are half a mile away, they would come in and be like, I can hear you laughing, Tori. And they're like, how can y'all be having this much fun while y'all are so miserable? They're like, we're sleeping on cots. We got food. We got soda, water, shelter, tent, everything.
You guys are over here laughing your butts off.
Warm blankets. And they're like,
Yeah.
or they were saying like, we're not even talking hardly or laughing. And
I bet you
It was
chased
so
all the
good.
predators away that night.
oh yes, for sure. I'm trying to think of some other moments that I wish made it.
Was there
One of
anything
them,
that you didn't make it? Oh, sorry.
Oh. Okay, so the owl stayed with us for like 17 days, and it was super spiritual. But at one point, I walked up to it, and I wanted this to go in the reel. I looked at it and I said, how many does it take?
What did it say?
It was like, "Ooh,
3.
yeah, 3. No, because I was like, anyone who knows that will get that joke and be funny. But when I did it, the camera guy, he was filming me do it, and he had no clue what I was about to say. And you see him just start laughing and can't even film it.
That's great.
Oh wait,
Night,
there's one more.
okay,
Sorry.
No,
Go ahead.
When Matt got there, I'd already made jokes to Cole, and when Matt got there, and it never came out in the show and stuff, but I am gay, I'm a lesbian, so I'm out there naked with a man, okay? Not my favorite scenario ever. Actually, never. And anyways, well, then Matt gets there, and I swear every producer, every crew member, they died laughing when they happened to be standing both next to me. We're all talking because he just got there, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just a real lesbian's dream, to be sandwiched between two men. I'm just in naked and afraid heaven right here. And neither one of them knew at the time, and they just like die laughing. The camera guy starts shaking. The producer starts yelling at him like, get your stuff together, be serious. And
you're supposed to be miserable.
yeah. They're like, you need to not have so much fun.
Well, that's why I always say either you laugh or you cry, and laughing gives you less wrinkles. So
True.
That's good.
At night, it got really dark, right? I mean, there was nothing. I mean, it was pitch black, right?
Oh, yeah. Until we would get our little GoPros out to do the night vision, we couldn't see anything. And so, like, to even go to the restroom, all three of us had different spots that we would go pee at night. Okay. And mine was, I'd go out the left side of the tent, but I'd fill the tent. I know where I was at. And then I knew 2 foot in front of that, there was a vine that was on the ground, but about 2 foot up. So I would wait for it. I'd find it. Then I'd trace it down so far. And then I'm like, I'm at my pee spot. And the guys all had their spots. And I don't know why I told you that story, but whatever.
But that's okay. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, you think about it, it's pitch black. You can't see anything. And so this is going to lead me into my next question, because we can only keep you an hour, but we're going to have you back because you're great. I love
thank you. Yeah, I'd love to.
I told you were Superwoman, so I'm glad you're here. We ask every guest, and especially you were down there in swamp ape territory. Have you ever seen a Bigfoot or a ghost or anything?
So in my life or just down there?
Well, whichever you want to tell, whichever one you share.
Either one.
I didn't see any ghosts down there. Now, we heard some stuff for sure. Never know what it was. But for a long time in my life, I've suffered from night terrors and sleep paralysis. So anyone who knows about sleep paralysis, you see some stuff. But there was one time I was in El Salvador with a friend, and we were in this bunker, or not a bunker. We're not at war here, but a little hostel, cabin. Okay. And anyways, we're sleeping, and my bed's going this way. Hers was over here. Okay. And then there's a bathroom that goes off from the edge of mine, and then just kind of open space. And I wake up. I still remember the dream I was having, but I wake up. I'm in that room, and my friend was sitting on the edge of my bed. So I straight up was like, whoa, I screamed, kind of panicked, and then I realized it's her. And then I was about to, like, I'm trying to catch my breath. I was about to be like, why are you sitting on the foot of my bed? Like, it was a little weird, And all of a sudden, because I yelled and gasped, my friend from over in her bed, she goes, what's wrong? What happened? And that person, it was a woman, and I'm not kidding, not crazy. This is plain as I can see, y'all too. That thing jumped up. My bed actually shook, and it ran off into the bathroom, which there's no door or window or anything to. And I sat there awake for hours until Joy finally woke up, and we could go on the rest of our day. But for about 4 hours, I just sat up and
Lights are on.
never went back to sleep. So it wasn't like I was kind of in a dream or something like that. It was as plain as day. Weirdest thing ever happened to me.
Wow. And you were the only one
I
to
did
see
not
it?
feel threatened by it though.
That's good.
Maybe it ran off. It really just had to go to the bathroom.
What are you doing
Seems like
here?
odd if it it could run anywhere, but it runs to the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah, no, why not out the front door, but
Yeah, or through a wall or a window. Like, how did it get in? If it came
Right.
in,
Yeah, it's gonna get you.
I do have lots of stories like that, but they're creepy.
Okay,
Oop.
well, we can have you back. Our chat loves you,
Ye-
by the way. Chris
Yes.
says that
Who loves me?
The whole chat. Chris
Oh,
says
okay,
that
good.
he hopes to come back because
Yeah, I've tried not to pay attention to any of the stuff going on, so wanted to be in it with y'all.
We haven't got any pervs over there. Well, Butch, but he's normal. So what's next for you, Tori? You gonna? I mean, aside from the TV stuff, have you got something else you're thinking about? A book or?
You know, I've ever since the Appalachian Trail, I've wanted to write a book. And I've started a couple pages, but then I never finished it, you know. But I want to tell my inspiring how that was so life changing and the stuff that changed
Mhm.
me and how I grew from it. I would love to do one over this or just my life in general. It's wild. It's a wild story of pain, success, laughter, heartache, all the things. Should be a bestseller. But honestly, I'm trying to segue out of my welding career. I've been doing it for 19 years. I love what I do. I've been in supervision for a while now. I've made a name for myself, but I'm trying to start another business. I won't get into it or anything like that, but I'm in the first steps of it. Actually, more than a few steps into it, and potentially could be the next step in changing my life and retiring from welding and then, like I said, the world's a playground, but I would love to do more shows. I'd love to be on Survivor, doing some commercials or something, you know.
I think you'll do well. I really
Well,
do.
Oh,
well
yeah.
thank you.
You've got a great story. And I was serious when I told you when you going back and forth and you sent me your bio. I was like, Jesus, you're Superwoman.
Yes.
You didn't tell me this.
I really appreciate it. I can't do a little tiny bio and get the essence of things that I've done in my life or what I've been through or accomplished or anything like that. But I tried to hit some high points there and
You
but
did fine. You did great.
well, thank
Kim
you.
asked if you liked the Paranormal Activity show. I guess she's talking about us. Hope you like us. Yeah, we'd love to have you back. And of course, we're going to follow your career. I think me and you'll be best friends now. So
I like it. Thank you.
Yes.
yeah, and Jen can help if you want to work on a book there. She's
Yeah.
a best-selling author. So
I would love that. I just need to get to a point where I'm not working 6 days a week. Because when I do work, we are no holds bar. We are 6 days a week. Go for so many months, and then I take off for so many months. And so I work about 6 months out of the year. It's good balance, but it's a lot. And I would like to retire from that, and then do some of this other stuff.
okay. And if
Yeah.
any of the fans want to get in touch with you or reach out either through from listening on the radio show or just watching this, how can they get in touch with you?
Facebook, Tori Huggins, Welder Girl 03 is my IG, my Instagram handle. I'm on TikTok. It's all under Welder Girl 3, but my name's also in there. So Tori Huggins.
Okay.
But yeah, feel free to follow me or send out a friend request or something. I've been getting lots. I can't accept them all. But I try to respond back to people right now. And but yeah, reach out. Love to hear from you.
Good. And reach out to your contestants that were with you if they want to. All of you want to come on one night, and I'll have all of three. Of
Oh,
you.
that would be
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, I would love to. They were actually supposed to fly out to my premiere and us have a giant one together. They had to back out kind of last minute, but I'm like, that would have been amazing to do a premiere together with them. So maybe next time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reminiscing about the butt trumpets.
But
I think
Sorry.
we did 2 hours. So yeah, all three of you. Yeah, come on. I love it. So
all right, I'll let them know for sure. I talk with them all the time. They are my brothers for life.
oh yeah. After something
Yeah.
like that, you can't.
Yeah, you can't help but be close.
And the thing that we just connected so well, not just being out there to survive, but we like I said, the laughing, the talking through everything, gigging each other. It was nonstop banter of just talking shit to each other.
That's great. All right, Tori. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I'll send you the link to all this afterwards, and you can fill
Awesome.
it back out. So have a great night. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to meet y'all. I'm sure we will stay in touch.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah,
We will
absolutely.
see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
She's great.
Mhm.
I knew she was going to be. We talked about it before the show. You and I did. She's awesome. So yeah, we'll definitely.
I love her sense of humor. It's like, yeah. So I think we have a similar sense of humor.
Yeah. She's great. So yeah, we'll have her back on. Heck, I might just have her fill in with us sometime. So we'll get.
Absolutely.
Time. So let me push a button here to keep us legal in Australia. Which button do I push? I think it's this one.
Broadcasting across Australia on Dare Media Group radio stations, this is the Sportcat Show, uncovering secret chapters, strange encounters,
and the occasional technical mishap.
We won't talk about technical mishaps. And by the way, I need to apologize to our Australia affiliates. I was so excited to get Tori on. I forgot to hit the commercial at the beginning of the hour. So my apologies to our Australia. Everybody come over and join us. Thank you, Kim. Well, if you were talking to me, come over and join us on the Sportcat shows. We are live every Wednesday night, 9 till 11. Well, sometimes a little bit longer. And we always have two guests. Now, this second guest, well, Jen here kind of encouraged me to bring him on. And, well, his name is Chad, and he is also a Canadian and an author. Let's bring him out so we can catch up. Hey, Chad.
Hey, Glenn. Nice to meet you. Jen, good to see you again.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a while.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. And yourself?
Doing well. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You've done a lot as well.
I've done a few things, for sure. So I had an entire career in manufacturing for 26 and a half years, made it to production management. And then in 2024, decided to pull the pin and retire from that. In parallel to that, I was working as a firefighter paramedic for a county nearby where I live. And I've been doing that for 17 years. So when I retired, I decided I'm just going to do fire full time. In parallel to all of that, I started writing books because I was interested in just, exploring the creative nature that I've always had kind of dormant in myself. So I started writing books. I've got nine published books right now. I've got one at the editors. I'm actually pitching one to film right now. Some of the producers are looking at it. I've turned it into a script called The Pact. It's a horror thriller. It's probably one of my favorite books so far. So I'm doing all that. I'm also raising a family. I've got 4 kids. My oldest is 25. I got a 23-year-old, 21-year-old, and an 18-year-old. And then I decide after I retire from Eaton, working fire, we do 24-hour shifts. So it's a day on, 2 off, a day on, 4 off, 24 hours. So I decide, I've got enough time. I'm going to throw my name in and run for city council in Airdrie, Alberta. So lo and behold, I get elected. Like, shocking, right? So I've been a city councilor for the last 6 months. And just working with the city and trying to, because we're the fastest growing community in Alberta, one of the fastest in Canada. It's amazing to be part of the energy and such. And so they elected 4 new councillors, and 2 of the existing councillors got reelected. And one of the councillors went to mayor as well. So we've got some of the older individuals there for the experience, and then a whole bunch of new blood in it. And so it's exciting and fun and a little stressful at times. I feel the weight of the responsibility every single day on my shoulders and stuff, but so that's basically me in a nutshell. Yeah. So it's been a wild ride so far.
You're a city councilman in the same area you're a firefighter, or is it a different area?
No, it's so the county, I work for Rockview County, which is just outside of Airdrie, but I'm a city councilor in Airdrie. It's actually is a little awkward at times because we had a 4 level of government economic forum, and the Reeve for Rockview County, Sonny, was there, and he had known me because a couple weeks earlier I received my 15-year pin. I've been a firefighter for 17 years. They do it every couple of years. So got my 15-year pin, and I shook Sonny's hand as an employee of Rockview County in my fire uniform. And then I get to this event, and I roll up on my motorcycle because it was a beautiful day. Lo and behold, in Alberta in the beginning of February, it was gorgeous. So I rolled up my motorcycle. walked in the door and he's like, "Hey, you just rolled up in motorcycle." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Chad Stewart, Airdrie City Council. You're Sonny, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, we met a couple weeks ago because I actually am one of your employees for the fire service. You gave me my 15-year pin." So we chatted a little bit there. So it's a little bit of an interesting dynamic. There is one board in Rocky View County that and Airdrie, like an intermunicipal board that we collaborate, that I told the city I can't be part of because that's obviously a conflict of interest and such. But I'm free game for all the other different boards and stuff that we have as a city to manage it. Yeah, so interesting.
That's cool.
I know I've asked this before but I haven't asked it on the show before. But do you ever have any downtime, or do you just like live to work and work to live?
It's weird. Like if I have downtime, I fill it. My wife says I fill it with stuff, but it's not just because I want to fill it with stuff. It's just I've got such an active mind. Like you, Jen, I've got ADHD. I managed to harness it over the years, though, without medication. So I managed to use all the energy for it and focus on certain things that I want to get done. But I can't stay still for too long. And my whole goal in the fire service was, oh, wow, I get this 7-8 day shift a month and I got all this free time. I can write more books. I can explore my creative nature. And then I wanted to run for council like 8 years earlier. And Peter Brown, the mayor at the time, encouraged me to do so. But I was running flat out. I couldn't. And so when I had all this time, I'm like, you know what? I could actually run for council and work my full-time job here in the fire service and actually still have time to do some of the other stuff, right? Because council positions is part-time. They say it's part-time, but there's a lot that we do. There's a lot of events.
Like a lot outside.
When we got elected, the new mayor, Heather Spearman, she's fantastic. She said, "You guys are going to have the hottest social calendar ever." And she was not kidding. We get invited to everything. It's awesome because I get to go and meet these amazing people in Airdrie that are doing fantastic things, that are just exemplifying what we think Airdrie ought to be and stuff. And they're just working kind of a lot of them behind the scenes, some of them in front of the scenes, to make our city a great place. And it's awesome to be able to actually go meet these people in person and encourage them and help them in any way possible. So, and one of my platforms actually for running my third one, like I had, smart infrastructure for the future of Airdrie growth, economic development. My third one was arts and culture, because the city is more than just pipes and roads and buildings. It's about its people, its culture, who we are, right? And with my writing background and everything else that I enjoy, it fit well. And so I'm able to help manage that and help that in any way I can as an elected official. So yeah, it's fun. I love it.
I love how you're thinking like, okay, between writing books, working, family, I don't know, I'm going to fill out my time with some more stuff.
Why not, right? You only live once and you have to capitalize on every single day. I've learned a long time ago that doing little things every single day gets you a huge push. I told you this before, Jen, right? Like with writing,
Oh, yeah.
like a lot of people think, how do you write books? How do you get 9 novels published?
Little at a time.
Writing since 2016. Yeah, exactly. So if you write 1,000 words a day, which takes an average author, once you're competent, about an hour. So you spend an hour a day writing, you can get a 90,000 word novel done in 3 months, 90 days, 1,000 words a day. So you could technically, if you follow that strictly, without life getting in the way, of course, you could write 3 or 4 books a year if you want to, right? And you know that.
Oh, yeah.
You've experienced like how many novels you've got written, right? And so that's something I
Not
always
as many as
share
you
with
yet.
creatives. Well, you're catching up. I see your Instagram stuff all the time. I'm like, oh, I gotta get my ass in gear here because Jen is like, she's gonna surpass me here pretty soon. And it's cool. It's motivating, right? So yeah, just a little self-discipline can get a lot of things accomplished.
So, point of note, Chad was the one who arranged for a book signing, and he brought me along as a co-author to my very first book signing and got me out of my shell.
Yeah, so Jen is an introvert. You may know this, Glenn, and I'm not. And so I like, here, Jen, here, let me take your hand. We'll do this book signing. And I created a monster. This girl does, I don't know, dozens of them a year now. She's flying all over the place and driving all over the place and doing book signings. She makes me look like a peon, honestly. So I created a monster and I love it. I'm glad I created this monster. She's amazing.
Yeah. So I've read your books. I've read all of your books. You still need to sign some for me. So the last book that I had read was The Pack, and this is the one that you're hoping to become film, that you've written the script for, which, by the way, I saw your picture about the script. Can you tell us where your idea came from that? Because I know, but nobody else does.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So I was working one day at the fire hall, and a buddy of mine, he was an archaeologist by trade, but he quit that and become a firefighter. You know, we have a lot of different people in the fire service who come from different, like engineers, electricians, construction workers, business people. Like, they just love the fire service, right? Because it gives you that sense of accomplishment. You're able to help people out, and plus it's exciting. driving a big red truck, lights and sirens to help people out.
Kids love
Fantastic. There's nothing like it. Yeah, kids love us, exactly. But so I was at the hall one day, and my buddy Luke looked at me and he said, I had this nightmare the other day, or he goes, I had this nightmare one time. I was visiting my grandmother in the French Alps, and it's a small town nestled in the Alps, beautiful location. And him and his wife were there and with their grandmother. And they have these houses are interesting because they're like, they got the main floor and then upstairs, and then down there, there's like a door that's kind of 45 degree, and you can kind of go down, and that's actually the barn. And so the barn's attached to the house in that way. And then in the barn, it opens up to the main street. So there's two accesses to the barn, from inside the house and also the main street. So it's kind of a cool setup. He said it was funny because you could hear when you're taking a shower up on the second floor, the chickens clucking and everything else, and the sheep bleating and all that stuff. So he said it was kind of a cool setup. But they were sitting there, and it was bedtime, and his grandmother goes over the door, and she's like bolting like 5 or 6 doors, like locked shut, right? And he's like, "What are you doing, Grandma? It's a small town. No one locks your door. You don't lock your car or whatever." And she was like, She wasn't telling him what she was doing, why she was doing it. So that night he went to bed and he had a nightmare, and he told me what it was. And I said, there's a seed of an idea in there. I like the idea. We could expand that. I said, why don't you write that into a novel? That's a great idea, Luke. And he looked at me and said, no, I'm a scholastic writer, archaeologist. Why don't you run with it? I'm like, you sure? Sure. So I took the seed of his idea. I made the main characters. I expanded the town. I added the villains. I added everything that was going on in the town, the whole scenario, why an investigator needed to go to town, and what the mystery was they were unraveling. And the whole thing just kind of expanded from there. And I wrote this book called The Pact, and it's done very well. And now Omnibus Works contacted me about 6 months ago and said, we think your work would be great for film. Do you want to enter our film track campaign? And Ed McDonald's the CEO there. And I'm like, I would absolutely love to, because I always envisioned my books on the screen. But with Luke, because he gave me that idea, I didn't feel right just taking the idea like that. And even though he said I could, so we entered a contract, giving 10% of the royalties, right? So if this thing becomes a movie, he's going to be a very happy guy. Yeah. So, yeah. So it's good. Yeah.
Well, it's also part of the brotherly thing at the fire department. So I don't know if she told you, I'm a firefighter paramedic too. So.
I think you neglected to tell me that, Jen. You didn't tell me I was going to be talking to my brother here.
Oh, sorry. I thought I did.
Yep.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I got a lot going on in my head these days. So.
Well, it sounds like it. And before we're done, I'm going to give you another idea. So yeah, we do have a lot of free time, but at the same time, one of the problems I found was, especially as a paramedic in inner city, I'm running 20 some calls a shift. I am so drained. I hardly had any energy afterwards. So I don't know how you did it.
Yeah. So my story is a little different, because I became what we used to call an EMT, but now we call them primary care paramedic, right? So there's advanced care and primary care. So it's primary care EMT. So I became an EMT, and then my kids were young at the time, and I applied for a job in Calgary for Calgary EMS, and they were going to hire me. But I got cold feet because the 4 on 4 off days and nights didn't sit well with me. My kids were young at the time. And so I respectfully declined, but I still love the job and the work, and I want to get on a car, do some emergency service response. And a buddy of mine at work at the plant said, hey, Rocky View County's hiring firefighters. I had never stepped in a fire station before. I had never been on a truck. I'd never really even talked to any firefighters. And I'm like, okay. So I throw my name, and this is my life, man. I just throw my name into stuff, and things happen, right? And it's weird. So I threw my name in, and they hired me. At that time, Rocky View County had low standards, really low. Now we've gotten a little more structure. We unionize. Things are a lot better. We get better pay. Back then, we were making less than minimum wage to go in car fires and house fires and things like that. But so they hired me as a firefighter, and then they put on this what's called 1001, 1001 level 2 course, right? Level 1, level 2. Those are your basic fire courses. They're expensive here in Canada. They're like $20,000. They said, we'll give you this course for $2,000. We'll do it in-house. And we'll give you some gear and stuff like that. And I was so poor at the time. I scraped every nickel and dime I could to enter this course. Some of the people in my class that got hired at the same time, like, oh, it's too expensive. I'm like, are you kidding me? $18,000 discount in a course that you're going to get your seals for is amazing. So went through that course with Rocky County, and I absolutely loved it. I love being a firefighter. The funny story is, and this is renowned in the county, in the fire service, is I went to shift that day. I had no idea what I was doing. And the captain comes to me and says, what do you know about fire trucks? And I look at him, I'm like, they're red. And that's literally my
red,
knowledge.
Not
Well,
all of them.
Airdrie, they're green or yellow. Yeah, so they're different colors. But yeah, but our trucks were red. And he looked at me, he's like, okay, we need some work here. So he takes me and he puts a breathing apparatus, an SCBA on me, gives me some training. And like 2 hours later, I was on the end of a hose line putting out fire. Like, we'd never do that today. You know, as a probie, you'd be stuck with a nozzleman, and then you'd also have to have all of your training before you do this and stuff, right? So it was cowboy days back then, but we've gotten better and we've grown with the service. And now I'm able to do it, you know, pretty much full time. And then I do some of the other things that I love as well. But yeah, that was my entrance into the fire service. Like, zero knowledge at all. I just needed experience. So in regards to your comment there about 27 calls a day and stuff, Rocky View County it's a large county, and there's 7 fire stations. There's I think 3 volunteers and then 4 career stations right now. And our call volume has gone up steadily. It's not always that, like, they develop, it's getting higher and higher. But when I first started, we didn't have a lot of calls, not a huge amount. So it was that you were able to transition into it and stuff, right? Even today, like my last shift, I had 3 calls, right? So it's very, very slow. It's not a urban department by any stretch. We do have some urban and rural areas, and we do wildland fires and stuff. On a busy day, you might get 5 or 6 calls on a 24-hour shift, right? So it's very good that way. But sometimes you have all-nighters, and you know, you've got a couple days to recover at minimum after that. So it's not too bad. It's a pretty decent gig, and they pay us really well for it, and the citizens appreciate the work that we do. So I gotta love it.
Do you write on your downtime?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I write on my downtime, or I'll edit some stuff, or I'll go through some emails that I need to catch up on and stuff like that on downtime. But you know, we as your last guest Tori there is talking about her and her friends chirping each other and stuff. Of course, you know this, Glenn. We chirp each other at the fire hall all the time, man. It's the thing we do, right? And help to mitigate the dark stuff that we see all the time. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you get your inspirations for your novels?
Yeah, they come from all over the place, all over the map. Like my first novel I wrote 2 actually in parallel. Dylan Hunt and the Desert Oasis Resort. It's about a 12-year-old boy who has these uncanny abilities of observation and can find things that others can't. It's like almost mythical, but he doesn't know where this comes from. But a secret organization named the Orion Group knows, and they conscript Dylan to get the Desert Oasis Resort to help them find a missing person. And in that book, Dylan's dad wins a vacation to go to Desert Oasis Resort. So they have no idea why they're going there. Once Dylan gets on site, then all hell kind of breaks loose. And Orion Group contacts him and says, you know, we know you've got these abilities. You need to help us out and stuff. So he has to solve this mystery. It's actually funny, when I wrote that book, it started doing really well on the Kindle, like, because you can get that one free Kindle, because I wanted to give people a sample of my writing and stuff. It actually did really well in the young adult mystery section. I looked at my wife, I'm like, is this a mystery? She's like, absolutely a mystery, and 100%. I had no idea. She's like, you don't know what's happening until the end. You're kind of like twists and turns all the way. So I wrote that one, and then I wrote a prequel to it called Enter Orion, Heart of the Diablo. And that's about a backstory about Derek Vehicle, who becomes Dylan Hunt's handler in the Dylan Hunt series. So that inspiration for that book came from, I was just, as I was getting into writing, again, narrative writing, because I hadn't done it since I was, younger. I thought to myself, I love, like, we're such a digitized world. And I'm a Gen Xer. I was born in 76, and I didn't have the privilege of all that. We kind of grew into the technology, and so we had to make our own fun. And I used to remember going out into forests and having these amazing, incredible adventures on the jungle gym and stuff like that, right? So I thought, what if there's a 12-year-old boy who can go into the forest, and then I paint the picture of what he's seeing, right? And so I through narrative form, I describe his adventure in this forest, and then you realize that it was just in his head at first, right? And then the story takes off from there. But that's the inspiration from that one came from my childhood, because I'm like, what about a boy living in that now time who has some technology but doesn't really ascribe to it as much as some of the younger kids. He actually uses his imagination, but his imagination's buried. It comes from, rather, you find out later, something else. I don't want to ruin the plot just in case you decide to read it, Glenn. But he finds out in the next book, in The Mask of Time, where his special abilities come from. And then
we learn more as it goes on.
Yeah, as he goes on. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, where he ages through the series.
Mm-hmm.
Start with him as like 12 in Desert Oasis Resort, and then Mask of Time, I think he's 15, and then he's like 16 in Artificial Intelligence. And I still have one more book to write in that series, but I haven't been distracted with everything else. So people keep bugging me saying, "Are you going to finish this or not?" Like
okay, so I won't bother you because I'm looking forward to the fourth one too. I think I actually convinced you to write the fourth one. There needs to be one more because you left questions unanswered. But you said you're writing this. Yeah, exactly. But you said you're writing it at the same time as The Pact?
No, so it was in parallel. So Dylan Hunt and Enter Ryan were basically written at the same time. Like the Desert Oasis and the prequel were pretty much written close to the same time, just because I was part of a marketing program as an independent author, saying that, you know, you write your first book, you make it free, and then you can get people on a mailing list. If they subscribe to your mailing list, you can send them your other book, Enter Ryan, and stuff like that, right? So it kind of worked in parallel together at first to build a mailing list and to build some credibility and stuff. So I published those two pretty quickly. And then I went with The Mask of Time, and then I went with The Pact, and then Artificial Intelligence, I think, is how it worked. Yeah, I'll have to go back and check the history, man. There's so much going on, I can't remember anymore.
But you were writing them pretty much around the same time.
So
was it hard to shift from one to the other?
So I tend to finish a project. I like to finish a project before I start another project. Sometimes that doesn't always happen. Like I'm in the middle of I was writing a fantasy novel, and I'm in the middle of it, like right in the middle of it, like 22 chapters into this 40 chapter book. But then I got distracted because then I wrote another book called Dreamland. Dreamland's coming out, and I've been pushing some stuff on Instagram, and I'm actually going to query this one to traditional publishers. And Ed McDonald from Omnibus Works thinks there's huge potential for a book and also for film. Now, this book is probably better than any of the other books I've ever written. Of course, I say that about all the next book, right? Because you tend to get better at your craft. But Dreamland is interesting. So Dreamland is a post-apocalyptic romance book. So for whatever reason, the gates of hell opened up and decimated mankind within a month. And we're talking about every undead creature you can think of. I play Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder and Rifts and all those awesome role-playing games, right? And so I used a lot of that material for the creatures in this book. But there's intelligent undead, and then there's mindless. The intelligent undead are the vampires, and they've set up territories to harvest mankind, and they can control the lesser undead. But then there's rogue lesser undead that's kind of wandering around the wilderness. And then there's individuals who just want to survive, so they're like the marauders, right? So you got to kind of stay away from them. In the midst of all of this crappy world where the vampires are trying to set up these kingdoms and stuff and suppress mankind and use them as food banks, basically, there's a man named David. And David is a tough character, but he's got compassion for mankind. He believes and hopes for a better day. And so David goes around and he tries to free these territories and encourage people to stand up after he kills the vampires in the territories and that sort of thing. And so he's kind of on a mission in that way. But then there's a second character named Dawn. And Dawn is a woman who's full of rage. She is a ball of rage and chaos because of the trauma that she experienced since she was like 7, 8 years old, before the end of everything happened. And then it transitioned into this post-apocalyptic scenario from her lifespan as she got older. And so now she uses the vampires and the undead as a means of therapeutic redemption almost for herself. She goes and kills every undead creature she can because it just satiates the rage that's inside of her, of all the men who abused her in her childhood and her adulthood. And then she meets David on this dark road, and David is like no man she's ever met before, and almost like the universe brings them together in a cosmic collision, and they team up together and they instantly fall in love. And it's their story of transitioning through this world with one another now. And it's called Dreamland because when David and Dawn are together, they enter Dreamland, they close the door. That shitty world is out there, and inside Dreamland's just the two of them, and no one can touch it. And that's what gives them solace in therapy, in dealing with all the trauma that they see in the world around them. So,
Did you notice that you've got a lot of D-named characters? There's Dawn, David, Dylan, Derek. Was that intentional?
Yeah. No, it just happens. Actually, interesting you mentioned about the character names, because you know this. I think I've told you this before. I'm on the hunt for great names all the time. Some of them I create myself, but sometimes I meet somebody and I'm like, that's an amazing name. You're in my book. So Telus guy comes to my door to sell me some Telus stuff, and his name is Bosco.
Like, what's your name? Let's write it down. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm like, hey, my name's Chad. My name's Bosco. I'm like, that's an amazing name. He ended up being in Enter Orion, Heart of the Diablo. I was one of the operatives, Bosco. And then I was at the Scotia Bank, and I saw this girl's name tag, and it was Jamaica. I'm like, that is such an unusual name. You're going in my book. Then I was at a book signing at Indigo Books near where we're at here. And this 13-year-old girl wanted to buy all my books. She's into the YA action stuff. She loved the story. And she had a 5-year-old sister. And I'm like, oh, what's your name? She's like, my name's Hazley. I'm like, that is a beautiful name. You're going to be a character in one of my books. And so Hazley Silverstone is the main character in The Pact. So
that's cool.
So if you have a cool name, you may end up in one of my books.
See, I can't do that because a lot of my characters, not my human ones, but my mythological and fairy tale characters, I go to this website called fantasynamegenerator.com, and I'm like, I need an elven name, and I go click elven, and it gives me a bunch of names, and of elves and stuff. So I can't really do that, but
hey, Glenn, every now and then. You play D&D, right?
Yeah, many years ago. Yeah.
So, awesome. But they have actually you can roll name generators on some of these. Nice. What's called the Dungeon Master screen. You can actually roll for a name. You're like, okay, I like that one, right? You just randomly generate it. That's cool.
Yeah, so similar to what I did.
Yeah.
We had what was his title, Jen? He created board games and stuff like that.
Darn it, I don't remember. It was, you know what? I don't remember what I ate today. So I think it was steak and potatoes.
I feel the same way. I hear you, Jen. I'm with you on it.
He creates worlds, writes books and comic books, and then creates games. Yeah, he's very creative. Ed, that was his name. So
Ed. I can't remember his last name, but I'm surprised you remember his first name. I couldn't even remember his first. I just remember his covers were really pretty.
Yeah. You guys interview so many people, though. Like, how long has your show been? Yeah. It's been a long time, right? So
this is my third year, two guests a week. So yeah, we're getting there.
This is my third month.
And we're going to keep it. And we've had actresses, actors, athletes. We've had
comedians. We had a disc golf one.
Yeah.
Disc golf. That's becoming huge.
It is. You know what? I gave it a shot. I went and looked it up and stuff. So we have we're gonna check it out when we have some time off.
Yeah, Airdrie is developing like a disc golf association and stuff like that. I didn't realize this was a big thing, and that's one of the sport tourism. There's certain sports. It's like there's like probably 24 sports. We narrowed down to I think 7 or 8 or something like that, and disc golf was made the list. I'm like, really? This is a thing, and apparently it is.
Yeah, if you design a course, the guest that we had on, that's one of the things he does. He was the inventor of disc golf. So
I was going to ask, of all the things that you do between the city council, working in the fire hall, writing, parenting, all of it, what is the hardest thing? What is the thing that you're like, oh, I don't want to do that?
I can answer that.
Wow, that's a loaded question. It depends on my mood from day to day, right? So
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, like when you want to. Some days you feel like I need to write, but I just don't feel like writing. I think I need a break. I need my mind to do something else or whatever, right? So
I do diamond art then.
Yeah, right. I think probably the hardest thing so far is just. So I've been in city council for 6 months. And it's going great, and I'm learning tons about municipal politics and about managing a city and stuff. That's great. I think the hardest thing is just feeling the responsibility of that, because when you approve a budget, this is taxpayer money, and you want to make sure that you are really responsible with that. You know, you're not going to satisfy 100% of the people. And I'd like to think I'm a likable guy, and I want others to like me, but you know what? They're not all going to like me. So I have to realize that, you know, that's kind of hard to take when you want to be friends with everyone, sort of thing, right? So that's probably the hardest so far at this point in time. But again, that could change tomorrow. Who knows?
So, do you find it? Oh, sorry, Glenn. Go ahead.
I was going to say the hardest part for me was being on that damn ambulance. So, Tori wants to say hello to you, Chad.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I saw the last bit of her thing. It was awesome. Yeah, I'm like, I should have come in at the beginning. You know, she's always an amazing story.
It's always fun. It's always fun, especially when people like have a good sense of humor and they can laugh at themselves and stuff. So it's always great.
I read a little bit about
like, awesome.
Like something about like fighting alligators and stuff like that. I'm like, and being a welder. I'm like, what is going on here?
You're a welder at that. Yeah, Superwoman.
Yeah.
So, and she wants to. She said she wants to be one of your shows if they ever come out. So
right.
I've got you your first cast member. So
hey, maybe she could play Hazley.
Yeah. Hazley's a tough cookie, and Tori looks like she could take her own. Like, you know, hold her own. So.
Yeah, I believe so.
Do you find it harder? Okay, this is going to might be a loaded question too, but do you find it harder to sit down and write and actually do the writing, or do you find it harder to sit down and not be interrupted when you're trying to write?
So the way my mind works, like, because again, I'm back to the ADHD thing. We can generally do multiple things at a time. So I can literally write and somebody interrupt me and stop in the middle of a sentence, deal with it, come back, and just carry on with where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird. I know a lot of people, they need that silence. So that doesn't bother me. The biggest part, and I generally don't have an issue writing, like it's 1,000 words a day sort of thing. If I want to, I could really do it. I've never actually published a book. I've written a book in 6 months. I've written them in 9 months, 12 months though, right? But life gets in the way and stuff. But if like I told you about my card system, right? You know, each card's a chapter.
Yes, I've seen your cards. Yeah.
So I plan my stories out, and then of course they take on life of their own as you're writing. You go way off card, and then you know a few days later you're like, ooh, those cards aren't relevant. I need new cards and stuff because you've taken the story in a different place.
I think I actually took your card idea and ran with it. So I'm using your card idea.
Does it work for you?
It seems to be. Like I said, like sometimes I just write down like, okay, this chapter needs to cover this main point. Everything else can be filler.
Yeah. And then you just, so people like, are you a planner or a panzer? You know, like
sort of
plan it
halfway,
out,
hybrid
by the seat of your pants. And I'm like, I'm both, man. I plan it out, but then I just let inspiration take over. But to answer your question, the hardest part is just, I find sometimes I'm not motivated. I have to force myself to sit down. Once I sit down and write the first sentence, I'm off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably the hardest part. Some days it's easier than others. It's weird. Like life is weird.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh, I feel like I don't feel like writing. Other days like, oh, I can't wait to get writing. You know, and then you feel like writing, and then when you have an opportunity to sit down and do it, you don't feel like it anymore. So you have to discipline yourself to like, okay, I get earlier. I'm going to write, and even if it's one sentence, I'm going to write it.
Yeah, or it's like me where I'm really motivated. I really want to write today, but my kids are having a wrestling match in the living room, so there's no way.
Well, you got smaller kids, so that's a little bit of a challenge. Like I said, mine are older now, and I don't have the family dynamics that you have and stuff. So I can't imagine. Actually, I can imagine because I went through it. But it's difficult. It is. I feel for you.
With your planning, do you ever? She mentions the cards. Do you ever have an idea and you write it down and you just kind of put it away and file it, like you might want to come back and try an idea later? Or?
You know, I wish I did that, Glenn, but I don't. I'm like, that's a great idea. I don't have a pen. No, well, I'll remember it for later.
Yeah, right on my hand.
Yeah, so the planning phase for me is like, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say the planning phase for me is like, okay, I've got this. I'm going to plan out this book. Okay, this is the main idea. I'm going to sit down and actually spend like an hour or two just going through the cards, writing different chapters, formulating the ideas. I'll walk around a lot. I'll take some breaks or whatever, and I'll try and plan it out. Then maybe I'll come back to it later. And over the course of a couple of days, I'll have like generally the whole thing planned out. And then I can go start doing pulling the first card, going, okay, that's what that's about, right? And start writing it.
Yes.
So
what I found with that process was that I didn't go off on a tangent as much. I actually was like, okay, I know what's coming next, so I need to fill it in here. so that it leads into that. Or I've got a program right now where it implements the little cards, but they're like they look like little cards on your screen, and you can see them, and I can divide them into acts. Yes. Yeah. So I started using that. Exactly. Yeah. So I will take them and they'll be like, no, this doesn't work here. I want to move it down here. And you can do that. You can like shuffle them around. And then of course my brain says, nope, they all need to be renumbered now.
Yeah. So now I'm on your program right now, Glenn, and you got a wide reach here. I want to say to the other authors out there, a couple programs have been so impactful. In Scrivener is one of them, because what Jen says, functionality. The other one is Vellum. If you want to format a book and have it professionally formatted in seconds, Vellum is the way to go. Yeah. So good plug-in for those two.
Vellum turns a Word document or a written document into an EPUB, which is what you send to turn it into a book. You can't just take a Word document or whatever and turn it into a printed.
And it formats it all for you, and then you can do all of the different stylistic aspects of it. You can make it as big as you want, as small as you want. The word count, you can play with it and stuff like that. The size of the lettering, you can do the whole thing, but just dumping it in there basically formats it, and then you just tweak it and stuff. It's so amazing. Then you can add that title page, your ISBN number, all that good stuff. So.
The only thing I didn't know about some of those, like, because there's lots of different programs out there, and I also use Vellum. I didn't know that it was only for Mac. So I'm like trying to, I can't get it for PC. What's going on? So. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because when I recommended that to you a while ago, you couldn't do it. And then I did a little bit of reading on it.
I had to actually buy a MacBook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? That's always a good thing, though. I mean, you're upgrading. You know,
my husband says now if I switch from Samsung phones to Apple, he's like, we may have to have a family conversation because we are not a Mac family.
I have an intervention for you. Well, you all can help me one day when I finally decide to sit down and start writing mine. I like your idea, though, of 1,000 words a day. I like that.
A lot of people a lot of people look at a big project like, I have to write this 90,000 words, because an average novel is 60 to 90,000, right? An epic fantasy is about 100, 110,000. So when you look at that 90,000, you just get overwhelmed. But if you look at 1,000 word chunks, it's the anxiety goes away.
Yeah. And I mean, like, some days you'll sit down and you're just really on a roll, or it's a really good scene, and you'll just write like maybe 2,500 words in one day because you're on a roll.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't have to limit yourself to 1,000. But
it's just going to take some, I don't know, what's the right word? Forcing? No, it's not forcing, but sitting down and doing it, I guess. I get shiny. I'm all over the place. So.
Oh, I know. I can't have my website open because I'll be like, I'll have to turn off all notifications because I'll get a ding email and I'll be like, oh, I'm in the middle of writing this. Got to check the email. Now I got to check my Facebook. Now I got to go look up this. Now I got to go look up. And then I'm just like, my whole day's shot.
I'm good at ignoring social media. I can ignore social media and email all the time. So
that's awesome. Scrivener has a really great option. So you click it and it darkens the screen behind you, and it just gives you and then it silences everything for you.
Yep.
So it just focuses you on your story, and then you can click that option, you get out of that, and then you can answer your notifications and stuff. So because really developed it for writers.
Yes, and because I have autism, ADHD, I also have dyslexia. So when I'm writing, I will skip all those little words. I know, right? Just make it easier, or not. Yeah. But I'll miss like those article words, like of, that, the, and, Sometimes I'll miss context words instead of the bird is flying. It's just the is flying. Yeah. So Scrivener, not that we're promoting certain products and stuff, but I found that Grammarly works with it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. My problem was the first chapter, I didn't write any quotation marks. And so I had some friends read it, and they were like, no,
are they talking?
Mark? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should do that.
I had to learn. It took me years to learn how to use a comma properly.
Yeah. So because of the pack turning that into a script, I've had to learn a different type of writing.
And I was going to ask about that.
Script writing is really, 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 really fun and interesting, because you know how you describe everything in immense detail when you're describing, in a paragraph or whatever, right? With the script, it's just succinct. Give them enough so they can visualize, because then the directors and producers are going to take that and they're going to make that a visual landscape on the screen, sort of thing, right? So you give them enough so that they can understand what's going on, and then it's mostly just dialogue, and then you just do your descriptions and then dialogue. But the descriptions are short, succinct, clean. I really kind of like it. It forces you to be concise, because if you look at a script in real time, 1 page equals roughly 1 minute of screen time, right? So my script, when we first got it done, as a contracted script writer to help me out with it and stuff, and so I learned the trade, it was 300 pages. It's like a 5.5 hour movie, right? So then I'm like, okay, well, we can turn this into a limited series. So I did that. I turned it into a 6-part limited series. But then I thought, well, producers are probably going to want an option, a feature film or a limited series. I want to be able to provide both of those. So I took my 300-page script and got it down to 187, which is still kind of long, but they always edit stuff out of these things anyway. And so it gives them like a 3 hour and 7 minute script where they can edit out, say, 30 minutes, make it a 2.5 hour, really powerful movie.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how is it different writing? Did you have to add dialogue to your stories, so turn narrative into dialogue just so that you could fill in those blanks that you'd otherwise be describing?
So I thought that was the case originally, but I realized I had too much dialogue. You can actually describe things with a look and that sort of thing. Describe what the character's doing as opposed to what they're saying. Because I know you often want to try and get into the character's head, because in a book you can do that, but in the screen you can't. So you tend to show more. So I was over dialogued at first, and that's part of like being able to cut down 130 pages, 120 pages, whatever it was just taking out a lot of the dialogue that didn't need to be there, and it would be awkward too, right? They'd be talking to themselves a lot of the time. And I know I talk to myself, right? And I know on when you watch movies, every once in a while, somebody will say something and they're kind of speaking to themselves, and that's okay once in a while, right? But so I kept the sense of the dialogue and the flow of the book the same, but I did change and add some things. Actually, I think, honestly, like everyone says, books are always better than movies. And I don't agree with that assessment, because sometimes I find some movies, they did a better job than the actual book. And I think the Pact movie, if they made it, if they did justice to it, gave it a decent budget, had fantastic actors, the cinematography, all that, if all that chemistry came together, I think the movie would probably be better than the book with the changes. I always say
that, with books, you don't have to pay for the special effects that are up here. Mm-hmm. So you can do a lot more with zero budget, because they're all in your head. But sometimes it's a different beast to actually see your book and see, you know what's happening and you're seeing it.
So when I first began writing, I learned this trick from, not really a trick, but I learned this style from R.A. Salvatore, famous fantasy writer. He's written hundreds of books. He's amazing. But I love his books. But he writes in such a cinematic style that when I'm reading his books and his action sequences particularly, I can see it as though I was watching it on a film. And so I learned that style. And so when I applied that to my Dylan Hunt, because all my books have action in it as well, and then adventure and thrills and mystery, all that stuff, I wrote in what I call cinematic style. And so when I talk to people about my books, I say, these are in a cinematic style, so you should be able to picture what it would look like in film. And so when Ed McDonald of Omnibus Works got a hold of me, it was easy for me to go, let's transition, because I've always wanted to see my books on screen, and hopefully that one day will transpire. I don't know if you remember, Jen, but back in October, it's right behind me, the Hollywood Reporter. I got featured in the Hollywood Reporter.
Yes, I remember that.
For the Pact and my work there, and that's got a huge distribution and stuff like that. So that's given me some credibility, like, hey, this guy actually has some cred here. So hopefully that will help kind of propel us. We're also looking at doing some other things. Ed contacted me today. We're looking at maybe getting in some advertising in the Cairns Film Festival coming up and stuff, but we're going to see, we're going to work out and negotiate how that looks and stuff. So we're doing everything we can. And when the last producer wanted to see my script, I wasn't quite ready yet, because I was still editing it and kind of trimming it down. And so I said, hey, can you give me a little bit of time? Because I want to give you a platinum level product. I want to make this sing. And he respected that. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Take a couple weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I'll wait for it. And so he said, when you do give it to me, give me the 6-part limited series, give me the feature film. I want your pitch deck, and I also want the PDF of your book. And so
Nice.
it took me about 3 weeks, and I got the script up to working in conjunction with Ed, back and forth, doing the edits and stuff. I got that script to the level where I'm proud of it. And I think it could do really well if somebody who has the same kind of vision for a horror thriller that I have takes it and runs with it. I think they could do really well. So
Nice.
I was going to ask now, once it gets to, we're going to go to production, you get actors and actresses. They're also artists and they want to put their little spin on things. So do you have to go back and retweet the
no,
narrative?
once somebody options my script, it's theirs. They have the rights to it, and so they can change it and tweak it however they want. So I have no say at that point in time. Some authors and creators are concerned about that, but to me, it's as long as somebody takes it and the changes they make it better, then I don't mind, or keep it the same, make it better. You know, it doesn't bother me. I'm not so tied to that. Early on, it was tough when I hired an editor to edit my stuff, and she would shred it because it was terrible, right? She would like that hurt a lot. I've got a thick skin since then, 6 novels, 7 novels later, or whatever. I have thick skin, so now when somebody gives me feedback, I'm like, okay, this is going to make it better, and I accept that feedback. So if they want to run with it and they want to make their changes and stuff like that, that's up to them, right? So I'm just excited. I'll just be excited to see it up there on the screen.
I like that. Yeah, I never knew how that worked because, I mean, I'm a superhero type of person, and let's just say Spider-Man. There's been several different Spider-Mans. There's been several different Batmans. Some are better than others. It's just their little spin.
Yeah, whatever spin they want to have on it. As long as they don't have a negative spin, but I can't control that. So I'm still going to have to keep that thick skin and go, okay, you know what? That was their baby. That's their spin. That's the stamp of approval they wanted to put on it. So, because, like directors will win awards and they'll do great work directing a piece, but they weren't the creative vision behind the original. Like what caused this to become a movie is the script. They were the creative vision behind how the script was made. And so, yeah, absolutely. If they do a really good job on it, they should have all the accolades and win all the awards for that, because they took it and they spun it and they gave it a great spin and it became fantastic and people loved it and they enjoyed it and they got something out of it. So, and that's absolutely like perfectly fine. Yeah, it's great.
I've kind of, because I've watched some movies, like there's a book series that I really like called the Gray Man series by Mark Greaney, and they took it and they made a movie out of it, and it was not what I expected with the book. I mean, it was not bad, it was good, but it was just like, wait, this character didn't even exist in the series, and why did they do that? Why did they kill off this person here? Because they ended up being in like 6 books, and I would always kind of equate it to, changes being made to my story would be like taking the Mona Lisa and drawing eyebrows on her.
Yeah. Yeah. And we as authors always have that feeling that, hey, this is my original baby and stuff like that. But once you get optioned at that point, you need to let go.
Yes.
You need to let go of it and hope that they have the same vision that you have. And if they don't, you know what? I think if they don't, then at least you can rest assured that, the novel, the script, everything that you provided was to the top quality that you could possibly, provide at that point in time and stuff. And just be good and feel good in yourself that you did a great job.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if they do a good job, it might not be exactly like the book because sometimes things are difficult to recreate, but at least, you're doing something, you're contributing in some way, that's something that's going to be remembered.
Well, having had to edit my own script from like 300 pages down to 187, I had to take out a significant portion of it, and I had to change some things. And so now when I look at a movie that I've seen, that I've read the book, and they change the character, eliminate some, I understand why. They just didn't have the room. That's why I decided I wanted to give the producer the 6-part limited series, which has everything. Like originally it was interesting because originally he told me, he goes, I'm more looking for a feature film, not a limited series. Because he said, I find that people who produce limited series tend to add a whole bunch of garbage that just to make it bigger. just to make it longer, last longer and stuff. They add stuff that's not really relevant to the story. And I told him, I said, that's fine and all. I said, but just give you some perspective. When we originally did the feature film script, it was 300 pages. So I'm not adding content that wasn't
taking it out
to the story. I'm just parting it out into 6 pieces, right? The feature film will lose some content and make it smaller and stuff like that, right? But so he goes, oh wow, okay. He goes, send me the limited series too, because then he realized that I wasn't expanding it just for the sake of expanding it. I wanted to stay true to my novel, and it took that much time to stay true to it because there's so much going on in it.
Are you thinking about doing the same thing for your Dylan Hunt series?
I thought about it, but I have a whole bunch of other projects I need to finish first, including finishing the Dylan Hunt series. Like, I just have to write that last book. But yeah, I would love to see that, because I think that'd be a great book. Mm-hmm. It's nostalgic for me, and I think it would be great for, like I said, it would fall in line with like a Harry Potter or Percy Jackson as well, right? Just because of Dylan's story and how he progresses and such, right? And I think kids would love it, and adults would love it too, because I've had because the story does get a little darker as you go along. Like, it's funny because like Dylan Hunt starts from like not knowing anything to helping find a missing man, to going to Mexico to get like this mask of time, and to the third one, the artificial intelligence, where he's like in Japan and he's like fighting the Yakuza and this new group called the Neo Takeda Shinjin, which is a group of woman assassins, and he's dealing with a group called Tower 6. So it like escalates in scope of all the enemies that are coming at Dylan and Derek in this whole series, and the Orion group and stuff. And then there's some like intrigue behind the Orion group. There's some sketchy things that Jake, who's the main guy driving everything, he's not telling you because he's keeping that under wraps. So what his real motives are, which you'll find out in the 4th book whenever I finish it.
Yeah, you left too many open questions in that 3rd book to not be writing a 4th one.
Oh, I was like, always what?
This is your last book?
One. Yeah, no, it's not the last one. I was planning on doing a 4th one, but I just didn't. I moved on to other projects and stuff, and never got back to it. Yes, but I will finish it. It'll be good.
Sounds like you've written several different genres. Is there one that you haven't written yet, as far as a genre you'd like to maybe
try? Not really. Like, so I've got it. Like I said, I've got halfway through a fantasy novel, because I love fantasy. Like I said, Ari Salvatore is a fantastic fantasy author, and so I got this one fantasy book that's half written. That's really good, but I need to finish that and publish it, obviously. And then I've got I've got a little bit of romance and dreamland. I've got YA action adventure, then a horror thriller and stuff. So I think I'm pretty broad on that. But you never know me. Like, something could come to me tomorrow, and I'd be like, oh, I'm interested in doing that. I'm gonna go and try this now.
I've got like 1 minute of free time. Let's put that in there.
That's right, exactly. Just fill it up.
Oh, mercy. Well, I don't know. I sent it in the email, and I'm sure Jen probably told you. One of the questions we always ask is, as our guest, we used to be a paranormal show, but now we're kind of entertainment paranormal light. Have you ever seen a ghost, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, anything?
Okay, before I answer that question, I need to ask you one. How did you come up with the name Sportcat Show? Because you go from paranormal to Sportcat. Like, that seems like a serious transition.
Well, Sportcat is a nickname that I got at Fire, or actually I got as I was in EMT school at Dispatch. It actually stands for a Sportcat unit in scanner. There's nice. Yeah. I was young and stupid, and I stuck.
We all are at one time, right?
So that's how I got the name. The original idea was for the Paranormal Guys. It was going to be me and my son, and I was going to be the one that believes in paranormal, and he was going to be the one that doesn't believe in anything paranormal. And we were going to have people on, and we were going to both come at it from both sides.
Oh yeah, like a Mulder Scully thing from X-Files.
Yeah. And he ended up growing up and moving to Vermont and leaving me.
Leave you high and dry. So now you're stuck with the Sportcat Show.
Yeah. So, well, I found that I liked my email address is to the paranormal guys, but the problem was I was asking people because like we had an athlete on, and I asked her a paranormal story, and she's like, ESPN never asked me this. I'm like, that's what I like. I want to get that different thing. And but I was starting to get people telling me, like, I just had an author just chew me out for messaging him from my paranormal guy's email. He goes, I don't do paranormal shows. We're not like that. And I'm like, okay, well, that actually, and I explained it to him, and then he got kind of pissy with me, and I never replied back. But so I started getting people getting negative. I don't do paranormal. I don't believe in that. It's all witchcraft, voodoo, whatever. So I was like, okay, we got to move away from this. And so I just, it's my nickname. Huh? So everybody knows me. So
sweet. Okay. So I guess I owe you an answer here. So I got a couple small situations throughout my life. So I used to live in Nanaimo. I graduated high school there. It was Vancouver Island on the West Coast. And I was about 16. We were playing Dungeons and Dragons at my buddy's house who lives out in the country and stuff. And we were playing. All of a sudden, the light shone in the window, kind of like across the sky. And we looked up and we're like, "Well, what is that?" So we walked out and we see this like light show like zipping across the sky. And we're like, and with no sound, it wasn't lightning. It was clear as can be. We're like, well, what the hell is that? Like, we have no idea. Next day, the news in Nanaimo reported that there was a UFO sighting in and around Nanaimo, and so that must be the light show. Now, I personally don't believe in UFOs. I don't know what it was, and I don't know what it could have been and stuff, right? I just find it hard to believe that they're going to travel billions of light years away to do relatively stupid shit, like, mutilate cows and put circles there to ask you questions like, why is that circle there? So, and they haven't actually contacted us and given us some amazing technology that could help us actually, with world peace and stuff, but whatever.
They could be tricksters.
That's right. They just like to joke around a lot. They're like, we're going to mess with these humans here. So
Loki wannabes from SETI 9.
Yeah. About the same time as well, I had I purchased a Ouija board. You could buy these things from like a.
I found them at Zellers.
Yeah. Weird, right? So you purchased a Ouija board, and we had a Japanese exchange student at the time, Tomie, and so I'm like, this would be cool because so to me. Okay, we didn't have the internet back then, all right? So, I just assumed that, the Japanese were really spiritual and everything else, right? Because they're kind of mysterious. That's the thing. I'm like, oh, I'm sure she'll love this, right? So we got me and a couple buddies together and Tomie down in the basement. She didn't speak a lot of English. And so we're down in the basement. We got like candles and everything's dark, right? And we're like trying this Ouija board. And freakily enough, this thing is actually moving. And I'm like, I'm not moving. Are you moving it? No, we're not moving it. So we're asking this spirit questions and stuff like that. And I think we asked it something like, are you a malevolent spirit or something like that, right? You want to get into the real good questions with these demons and stuff. And suddenly Tomie's hair goes up in fire because like one of the candles caught her hair on fire. And so we're like putting it out and shit. Now, I don't know if that was just a coincidence or what, but it freaked us out enough. We're like, we're just going to put that Ouija board away and we're not going to mess with that thing again. And then there was a time where your previous guest Tori talked about being like paralyzed, sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's never happened to me before, but I remember waking up one time and I couldn't move and it freaked the hell out of me. And then finally I was able to yell out, and I thought I had like a demonic, presence or spirit was kind of like capturing me and that sort of thing, right? And then years later, I read this book, Why We Sleep, and in that book, they detail that there's a hormone in your system that when you go to sleep, it actually paralyzes you. And the reason it does that is so you don't enact your dreams, because if you did that, some people could get hurt, and people have actually gotten hurt because that mechanism in your body malfunctions. And so you have spouse killing their spouse because they enact their dream that they're having. It's a violent dream sort of thing, right? So I thought that was a demonic activity at the time, but it was not. I'm not denying that there probably is some spiritual and demonic, stuff out there, and obviously some good stuff as well. But so I've had those events. I've had a couple other weird ones, some coincidences. When something happens, you're like, well, how did that person know this? So for 2 days, I was in my when I first moved to Airdrie, I was in my house there, and I had this truck. For 2 days, I was contemplating selling it. I didn't tell anyone. Didn't tell a soul. I was like, I think maybe I should sell this truck, right? I don't know how to do it. I was a young guy and stuff like that. Suddenly in the afternoon, after getting home from work, I get a knock at the door. And the guy comes to the door. He's like, hey, you want to sell your truck? Like, I didn't tell anyone. Like, so there's got to be something floating around in the universe regarding that. So I don't discount paranormal activity and those sorts of things. Some of it I think can be explained scientifically in the physical world and processes, but there's some things you just can't explain. Like, how did he know I wanted to sell my truck? No idea. So
put it out in the ether.
It's out there in the universe, man. Yeah.
Well,
so, who knows?
If you have any more spare time, one of the side things I do is I'm a disc jockey on the Thin Line Rock Station. It's a radio station dedicated to public safety. And they're looking for people that want to come on and play some music and tell some BS in between songs. So I can hook you up if you're interested. So if you've got more spare time.
Well, I'm sure I could find spare time. I'll squeeze every second of the day here.
It's easy. It's easy.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah. Before you go, two things. We're live in Australia, so I want to make sure everybody knows how to get in touch with you if they want to, how to get your stuff, and if you have any up and coming things on the horizon.
Yeah. I'm mainly an Instagram user. I have Facebook, but I don't use it very often. But it's Chad Stewart Author at Instagram. So just go there. That's my handle, Chad Stewart Author. It's pretty easy to figure out. You'll be able to find me there. You can follow me. It's a public account. So follow me, and you can see all the stuff. You can see all my previous posts and stuff, things that I'm working on. So up and coming is well, I'm just pitching the Pact, steady to. I got another pitch coming up here on the 25th. So hopefully we'll have a producer that wants to pick it up and actually, be serious about it. I also have my book Dreamland, which I'm just finishing the final edits on it, and then I'm going to be querying that to some agents and some publishers and that sort of thing too. So those are coming up. Maybe I'll write this fourth Dylan Hunt book soon, but I'll let you know, Jen, as soon as I start it. Okay, it's in the back of my mind.
Sounds good.
But then people are calling for a second book on the Pact, and so now I'm having to think. Okay, well, what would the plot look like for that?
We've been waiting for the Dylan Hunt fourth book longer, so.
You have been waiting for longer, but these things take time. I don't know. It depends on what the fan base wants, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. But so just got all that, and then work and everything else, I guess, running a city. So helping run a city anyway. There's 7 of us. So.
That's great. Chad, thank you for coming on. We'd like to have you back when you get your movie contract and everything set up.
Yeah, for sure. I love how you say when. That's awesome. Appreciate it, Glenn.
Well, it's going to happen. Like with your truck, put it out in the ether. It's going.
Put it out in the universe, right?
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. And I will email you the information about the Thin Line Rock Station. www.thinlinerockstation.com. 24/7 rock and roll music. So hope you like rock and roll. So
I love all types of music. I'm eclectic that way. So
me too.
Perfect.
He gets on me because I play country.
Yeah, you know what? I wasn't a big fan of country until within the last couple of years. Now it's kind of grown on me a little bit.
My dad was living in a shit kicking. That is what he called it, a shit kicking music disc jockey.
Well, it's changed a lot in the years. Like it's a little more modern now and stuff. I mean, it's not like back in the day when you played country backwards. You got your truck back, your wife back, your dog back. It's like that anymore.
Now with AI, what happens? I'm so confused about that.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, you guys have a great night. I appreciate it, and hopefully we'll talk soon. And I'd love to be on your show again.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, we'll have you back. More than.
Oh yes. For sure.
Have a great night, Chad. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. I know. I say it every guest. That was awesome.
Yes, and way too quick.
I was looking at the time and I'm like, oh, we're over in our Australian time. So I was like, I got to go. But they don't usually mind. And we love them giving us some input. All of that will be in the show notes probably tomorrow. So check it out if you want to find out how to get in touch with them. Jen, real quick, because we are over, plug your stuff so that we get that out there.
Oh yeah, you guys can check out my fantasy adventure series on www.jmshawauthor.com. I got my books, my links, my social media. You can find me. It's all there.
All right. And I will be on the Thin Line Rock Station tomorrow, noon till 2, www.thethinlinerockstation.com. And then after 2, switch over to Radio X. And by the way, Australia, this is all Eastern Standard Time. Switch over to Radio X Dare Talk Radio, or come over here to YouTube and watch the Sportcat Show. We'll be live then. And then next Wednesday, well, I'm not sure. We'll have to figure out who we got. We got somebody booked. We're booked until May. So we're keeping them going. Jen's bringing in some great people, and we're really glad to have her. So everybody have a great night, great morning over in Australia. Thank you for allowing us to tickle your ears. And thank you to WRFN and WZQR for allowing us to be a part of your day. We will talk to you soon.
Bye.
Play. Maybe.
There you go.
There we go. Always the technical difficulties. So.
You ever wonder